These AI videos are getting completely out of control, and I'm all here for it.
We're gonna stop that pot-bellied weasel vampire. She's no match for our unity.
I'm selling you to the highest bidder in the context of money.
Anyone need a tampon?
No thanks, irrelevant pervert. We've got bigger problems to solve.
What do we do, Donnie J?
We fight like hell because freedom's worth fighting for.
Lo, the simulation couldn't get more ridiculous, as of course a lot of people are sadly expecting a fight, as of course a quarter of Americans just came out and they are fearing that there's going to be a domestic conflict along political lines after November 5th. In my opinion, we have to do everything in our power in order to prevent that, as it definitely does seem like a reoccurring trend from the corporate media that is trying to engage in these larger sensationalistic, hyperbolic, emotional, manipulative, MK Ultra, mind control-like kind of operations that are currently ongoing against you and your fellow man and woman in this country. All of this as there's a powerful coalition coming together that, of course, a lot of people within the establishment are not really too happy about, as there's even some Wall Street bettors right now that are betting on the stock market that it will be Donnie J, Donald Trump, that will become the next president of the United States, as a lot of people are positioning themselves for the future reign under his presidency, as a lot of people are placing bets directly on Donald Trump. What are going to be the ramifications of this? Well, some foul play by a lot of those people in the establishment that won't be too happy about it and will be doing everything in their power in order to, of course, not just stump, but prevent his leadership from moving forward in any way, shape, or form. This is why I keep telling people things aren't going to get a lot easier after November 5th, even if you get the election result that you personally wanted. There are a lot of particular factors. There's a lot of little things at play here that are absolutely worth considering and focusing on, especially when it comes to diagnosing the larger problem in America right now, as Kamala Harris isn't doing too well, as she just held a town hall with Anderson Cooper where she gave some very bewildering, strange answers to people that were asking her questions. I was going to play a segment of that in the beginning of this video, and then I was like, no, like this is too hard to watch. It's just brutal. It's just awful. And then I was like, okay, I'll play it in the middle. And then I'm like, do I really want to subject my viewership towards more of this kind of weird, empty rhetoric from this corporatist vessel of the establishment? Do I really want to subjugate my viewership? And I'm like, I don't even want to watch this. Clips are going around social media. Clips are going around Twitter. And I'm like, I get it. Yeah, no, non-answer, just absolutely flippant disrespect to any kind of intellectual understanding of the English language. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't even want to see it. You probably don't want to see it either. We know what cringy, weird, unnatural, not organic slogans are already coming out of her mouth. And that's something that, of course, as she's highlighting herself more, showing herself more, doing more shows, doing more podcasts, doing more actual unscripted, contested kind of interviews, the more people are coming off and not liking her, which is reflected directly in the polls, as even early voting data is suggesting larger surprises, particularly in favor of the Republicans, as one poll is showing that Donald Trump is up 2 points in North Carolina, 1 point in Arizona, and tied in Georgia. As the Daily Mail writes, Kamala Harris was savaged by Democratic pundits after a CNN town hall last night, with even former Obama strategist David Axelrod saying, quote, her habit is to kind of go to word salad city. Yeah, no, it is awful. It is absolutely something that I really do not hope we are subjected to for the next 4 years of our lives, as there's not only bigger ramifications politically, but just personally. Me having to sit here and listen to her and play her clip. You don't want this. I don't want this. The American public doesn't want this. as the alternative is looking more and more promising, especially after the event last night in Georgia, where RFK Jr., along with Tucker Carlson and Tulsi Gabbard, joined the stage with Donald Trump for TPUSA's action event down there, where Charlie Kirk had some very interesting insight into all of this, specifically with Donald Trump's kind of art of the deal here.
It is no longer Republican versus Democrat. It's no longer the traditional dividing lines of a generation prior. You've seen tonight something remarkable. You saw two people who ran for president of the United States as a Democrat, endorse Donald Trump, and be here as our movement accepts them warmly. You see, they say Donald Trump is the best at deals the world has ever seen. And just look at this deal. We get Tulsi Gabbard and Bobby Kennedy, they get Liz Cheney. Not bad. We get Elon Musk, they get Adam Kinzinger. You can have them. You can have the warmongers of a generation prior, while we diversify, deepen, and strengthen our movement to include people that otherwise would never have been part of the Republican Party.
An excellent point here, as of course there is a kind of larger political realignment that I think the establishment is finding it very difficult to deal with, as this kind of larger political viewpoint realignment is something that is absolutely worth noting, as of course these new Republicans sure do look like a lot of the Democrats back in the early 2000s. And seeing major representatives of the left-wing anti-establishment movement like Tulsi Gabbard, that just announced a few days ago that she is officially joining the Republican political party, highlights, I think, an important transition that a lot of Americans are making themselves. As there is a massive shift happening right now, specifically amongst young men that are leaving the Democratic Party in record numbers. In 2016, 51% of young men identified or leaned as Democrats. Last year, 2023, the number dropped to 39%, as that number is expected to be even lower this year, as the Democrats are facing a huge masculinity crisis that they're trying to cover up with camouflage hats. That's not really working, and cringy commercials with weird dudes talking about how they're dudes for Kamala, as Donald Trump kind of leaned into all of this and went right for the jugular by announcing that the dudes for Kamala's girlfriends and girlfriends' boyfriends are voting for him. As on the other side, you also have individuals like Bill Gates, who, according to the New York Times, privately said he's backing Harris with more than $50 million, as there's a lot of really weird, creepy predators and billionaires that are on the Jeffrey Epstein list that are also kind of coalescing around Kamala Harris, as Donald Trump is promising to, of course, release the Jeffrey Epstein client list. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're on that Jeffrey Epstein client list, I don't think there's a bigger motivating factor to supporting Kamala Harris than that, as of course she is very unfavorable, specifically amongst black men, specifically amongst men in general. And you get to choose what side do you want to be on. Do you want to be on the side of Bill Gates, or do you want to be on the side of Elon Musk, that of course is tweeting up a storm right now, as Kamala Harris and her woke leftist liberal saints who keep preaching about toxic masculinity and then kind of wondering why there's no guys around here, huh? That's so strange. As they have literally surrounded themselves with some of the most creepiest, weirdest predators in our current society. We're talking about Bill Gates, the allegations against him. Huge. His wife dumped him, allegedly, because he wouldn't stop hanging out with Mr. Epstein. Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, Oprah, P. Diddy. I could keep going on and on and on, as a lot of very weird celebrity predators are all backing her. As there's now even other rumors and speculation about Kamala Harris's wife that allegedly slapped one woman in the face so hard she spun around, as she's coming out today and saying that, quote, she's disgusted by his fake perfect spouse persona. This being one of his alleged ex-girlfriends that exclusively talked to the Daily Mail, as there's a lot of questions about the first ever possible first gentleman of the United States, as some people are saying that he's getting a free pass in the media with his previous scandals with women, All of this as former Congressman George Santos came out and is now claiming that there's a bombshell story surrounding Kamala Harris that will break soon and allegedly end her political career. Now, again, lots of this are just rumors, and I'm very skeptical, especially within just 2 weeks of November 5th, which all of us should be. There probably will be some kind of more October surprises. There's stories about allegedly a big expose coming out against Donald Trump as well, and we keep hearing about this every kind of larger political cycle. As George Santos had this to say on social media.
I just got off the phone with a source, and they were telling me that tomorrow the Kamala Harris ship sinks. You're going to see all the rats jumping off. The story that's going to break tomorrow is so damning and so bad that Democrats are going to distance themselves from her like something you've never seen before, and essentially you might even see some asking for people to vote for Trump. This is wild. Stay tuned as this drops tomorrow.
As of course, we'll be paying close attention to it. As of course, tomorrow is a Friday. Why would the story be dropping on a Friday? That kind of doesn't make sense, as a lot of people are also expecting Joe Rogan to speak to Donald Trump tomorrow, with the video potentially coming out that same day. Or I would say strategically the smartest thing to do would be to release it, of course, on a Monday. Now, a lot of people are hedging their bets on Donald Trump, and a lot of bureaucrats are already preparing for Donald Trump to become the next president of the United States, as there's a lot of implications to this. As according to a new YouGov poll, they are reporting that one-fourth of Americans are fearing that there's going to be a larger clash between Americans after November 5th. Now, of course, we've heard about this for a very long time. We saw the corporate media talk about this for a very long time as well. And we have to be careful with how we talk about these specific issues, since I do personally believe there's a small possibility that something like this could potentially unfold. And if it does, it would be brutal for the average American. And this is why I think we need to do everything in our power in order to try to de-escalate the current political situations that the corporate media is now escalating. If we look at the news coverage within the last few days, specifically about these larger notions of Donald Trump somehow being a fascist or connected to that guy with the funny mustache in the 1930s. If you look at their kind of larger representation of who's going to become the next president of the United States, it is absolutely awful. It is absolutely disingenuous. It is absolutely hyperbolic, and something that, of course, will make people who are already more likely to be unhinged and to have mental health issues to be more unhinged, to be more unstable, to be more scared and terrified and filled with fear. And when people are filled with fear and when people are filled with uncertainty and anxiety, they usually act pretty stupid. Overwhelmingly, the left has a huge mental health issue, specifically amongst its young demographics. And if Donald Trump becomes president of the United States, I think the more likely scenario is we will see some kind of protest, some kind of unrest that hopefully does not escalate to grander proportions. But I do see a lot of Democratic areas potentially be in a more unstable situation, as of course the only real kind of solution to all of this is an honest and real dialogue. I'm sorry, but comparing Donald Trump to that 1930s funny mustache guy is not fair. It's not reasonable. It's not logical. It makes no sense at all. This as Alex Jones took to Twitter and declared that understanding the enemy's game plan is critical to stopping the, quote, globalist plot to trick Americans into hurting each other during a, quote, staged race war. A little bit of a sensationalistic comment, but then looking at the media's coverage of Trump, is it, as of course I would say, and I have been saying this for about 15 plus years now, there's a larger divide and conquer agenda out there that is meant to pin Americans against each other, to fight each other, to make each other see themselves as responsible for the larger problems that we have in our society, rather than the actual true people who actually did cause these problems. Now, one of the things that does give me hope are these videos circulating on the internet right now, specifically highlighting how a lot of black men aren't falling for Kamala Harris, aren't falling for the propaganda, which, of course, I think mutes the point of a potential race conflict here, as there's more likelihood of a larger kind of political conflict here. As you could see, the corporate media priming the conversation and making it as toxic as they can, making it as kind of flammable as it can, as they're literally playing with gas and matches over here, which has other people like Alex Jones talk about the larger potential of some kind of false flag here. Now, will that happen? I don't know. Is there a potential for it happening? Yes. As Wired magazine has a very interesting article about this, saying online talk about civil conflicts could inspire real world violence. DHS warns cops. I would just go to Wired and be like, look what the corporate media is doing. The corporate media is talking about this. The corporate media is talking about how people who believe politically different ideas than you are your enemy, and how they're horrible, and how they're going to, of course, put you in jail, and how they're going to, of course, take your life. Those are the people that are pushing us on the brink of real-world violence, as we have seen political violence from a lot of unhinged individuals, particularly from the left, because of the larger kind of toxic conversation created by social media. If you look at the Trump kind of assassins here, we still don't really have an official kind of explanation to what's going on here, but one plausible one is that they were watching MSNBC or CNN nonstop and thought that this guy was going to, of course, bring us to the end of the world. And because of that, they decided to, of course, intervene on this. That's the type of toxic rhetoric that needs to be addressed, needs to be stopped, needs to be called out, needs to be pointed out as, hey, you're the ones right now that are creating and putting us in a very dangerous situation that is putting us on the brink of a larger civil conflict that we should stop immediately. And the best way to stop it is with a rational, calm, real discussion based off the reality of the situation with no censorship at all. Something, of course, that the establishment really doesn't want you to have. This is why they want to control the narrative. This is why Hillary Clinton's going out there and saying that they're losing control because people are able to talk to each other online. And good. They're supposed to lose control. They're supposed to lose power because the power that they have, they wield in a very uncomfortable, disgusting, despicable way that is meant to, of course, weaponize information against you rather than liberate it and freed it so you can have your own mind and discernment to live your own life as you choose. As these people are criminal, these people want you to fight. They want you to hate each other. They want you to see each other as the problems when in reality, they are the problem. Now, whatever happens November 5th, there's going to be a major mental health crisis afterwards. What's going to happen with all the people pouring into this country? That's another question that is also going to inflame the current situation and make it that much more dangerous for the average American. As the United States spent $150 billion last year on migrants, we probably spent more this year. And it's another unsustainable, uneasy situation that is not fun to deal with. So yeah, that's happening. As of course, I've been telling people to prepare for a very long time. I just released a video about how to prepare on lookUnfiltered.com, a special secret, not so secret society where you get to join a lot of really cool, awesome people and be a part of the larger conversations that no one else really has. I go deep down the rabbit hole. I talk about my personal decisions. I talk about things that I do in my life that I am using information on in order to, of course, better it. And that's the information that I try to share with you in order to help promote, build, grow, and expand our human consciousness, wealth, prosperity, and liberty. Freedom is in your hands if you decide to act on it in the proper way. And I've built LukeUnfiltered.com, 12 plus years of behind the scenes videos just on that basic model alone of trying to give you the tools, the information, the seed oil cards, the crap list of items you should be avoiding at the supermarket. That's all available for members of LukeUnfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? Signing up is key, it's crucial, and it's more important than ever. Sign up right now, LukeUnfiltered.com. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple. You go here and whatever your budget allows, I know times are hard, but for just $8, 20 cents a day, you could sign up right here, click it, and then you just put in a little bit of information. You get emailed back a login, you log in, and you get a lot of really awesome values that are a lot more valuable than Netflix. You have a choice. You want to do Netflix or you want to do LukeUnfiltered.com. Make that choice. Vote with your dollars, vote with your clicks. Start to decide your own life path right now. 3 master classes that will teach you some really incredible skills. Do you want to sit there and be glazed by the satanic, evil, corporatist, demonic propaganda that plays on your subconscious and emotional, psychological weaknesses? Or Do you want to be uplifted and, of course, enlightened and given information that a lot of powerful people don't want you to have? That decision is yours, and it starts with you. Signing up to lookunfiltered.com. Sign up there right now, and I will see you there right after this broadcast. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you signing up to lookunfiltered.com. And because you do, this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange.